Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to virtual tastings at Whitey's tonight. We're doing dry January. We're going to talk a little bit about athletic beers, and we're going to try a couple. The hazy's killer, by the way. So, like, if you have any doubts about like getting into these beers, try the hazy first, and you'll be hooked for sure because the hazy's the best. Anyway, I do have a couple of announcements. So starting next week, we are actually doing a series every Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we are going to be talking to local black breweries in the DMV, leading up to on February 19th. We're actually going to do a black-owned brewery festival in the store. So we're going to have our friends from Liquid Intrusions. We're going to have our friends from Black Viking. We just got in today. Black Viking, their ginger beer. We're going to have our friends from Patuxent. We're going to have Sega, who is recently just launched, and they have like a hazy and a tiramisu milk stout. And a couple other folks are going to be Urban Garden from DC is going to be joining us. So each week we're going to and follow the Facebook for the exact times and stuff. But each week leading up to the in-store, we're gonna sit down and talk to people from these breweries. So Sega's the first one, and I believe it's next Wednesday at 8. So we're going to be talking to them, and then Patuxent is the following week, and we should be getting some fresh Patuxent product in over the next couple of weeks. And then I believe it's Urban, Liquid Intrusions, and then Black Viking is the last, right before the event. So anyway, so that's what's happening. Follow us on Facebook, blah blah blah, for that. And I mean that's the biggest thing coming up. I'm pretty excited for this Black Brewery Festival in the store. I think it'll be interesting. They're doing some really cool stuff. Some of these folks are making some really cool beers and different beers. The folks from Black Viking, their beer is terrific. It's a ginger-based beer, and I'm excited for all of them. So I would love to see everybody come out and support these guys. It'll be super fun. But that's it. That's then, and this is now. And now is we're going to talk to the good folks from Athletic Brewing. We got our friend Mike, who's our regional rep. And then Kevin is joining us from San Diego. So that's pretty cool. So we're going bi-coastal tonight to talk about athletic. So I guess we'll start with Kevin. Give us a little bit of background about athletic.
Cool. So athletics started back in 2017. Bill and John were the two co-founders. So I'm sure if you Google their names, you'll see 100 different articles kind of go into that one. But they had the idea of making an alcoholic beer that really tastes good. So they started off in Stratford making beer on like 5 gallons at a time, really trying to tweak, see what they can do, make it work. But eventually they got a new facility in Stratford, Connecticut, where they thought it was going to last them enough for 5 years growth. But they maxed that facility out in like 2 months, and then they expanded. They doubled the size, thought that would last another 5 years, and another like 5 months, it was completely full. So they then got the facility out in San Diego, and then now we're building a new facility in Connecticut just to keep up with the demand.
That's crazy. And when did they start?
2017, I believe.
So in basically 5 years, probably a little bit less than 5 years, 4.5 years, say, it's grown that exponentially.
Exponential is the right word, yeah.
I mean, that to me, that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy because NA beers, traditionally people think of NA beers as like whatever, Bush NA or O'Doul's and things like that. So they clearly were active guys. I mean, Mike works for you guys and he has 3 bicycles behind him. So they were clearly active guys who like beer but didn't necessarily like the effects of the alcohol in beer.
Correct, yeah.
Would that be fair?
Yeah, so it really, like as a company, we have a mix of people who drink alcohol, people who don't. So there's really no judgment with that. Like I like a good beer, but I'm also doing mostly dry January right now. So I allow myself some of that forgiveness, but it's really not trying to preach or really say that anything is better than the other, and really just trying to make a good product for those who want it.
Yeah, so you guys are really, you're probably one of the first, if not the first, craft NA beer makers. Would you say that's true?
There were a couple. I believe we might be the second. Bravas out of California, I believe, might have been the original. But as far as like the largest, I think we have quite a large share of the overall U.S. craft volume right now for an alcoholic beer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Recently, Mike's probably seen it too because Mike hits a lot of stores. Recently, you see a lot more interest in it. Like Sam Adams makes one, Dogfish makes one. There's been a couple of brands that have popped up. I think one's called Wellbeing, and I think they're pretty much they're an early when I say early, I don't know their exact history, but they can't be much older than Athletic.
Yeah, you know right around the same time.
Yeah. So we're talking about you guys as OG, and it's like 2017. That's kind of how new this like the craft NA segment is, which I think it's really interesting. Mike, who do you find? You go to a bunch of stores, obviously, because that's your job. What do you think? Who is the consumer for these beers?
Yeah, Kevin actually he hit the nail on the head with it, where it's really anybody. I see a lot of people. They're not just drinking non-alcoholic beer, or it's just not people that have stopped drinking. And it's really a lot of folks that want to pick up the 6-pack. They have their 8%, IPA, but they also realize that they want to cut back a little bit. So they'll pick us up and essentially drink us during the week, and then on a weekend, that's when they crack open those 8%. So it's really a wide range of folks who are our consumers.
So it's a lifestyle brand, but not totally a lifestyle brand, right? Because most people, like you say, probably have them during the week or whatever, or maybe they're the designated driver. They go into shows. I mean, I see a lot of local tap rooms. I've noticed the last couple of weeks, and maybe it's just a dry January thing. I don't know, but I see them offering mostly Athletic actually, NA beers as well. So for the designated drivers or the people that just want to get out.
Yeah, naturally, just with the name itself, when you think about like that consumer, naturally it's going to be a lot of those athletes, and that's where a lot of our marketing, especially back in 2017 and 2018, when Bill and John were first starting out, was just going out to those races. But since then, it's definitely evolved more so from the just athlete that wants to drink a beer to the person that really enjoys a good craft beer and the art behind it.
Right. So then now the first beer that was brewed was, Kevin probably knows this better. Yep. It was Upside, yes? Upside or Run Wild?
So both Upside Down and Run Wild kind of came out right around the same time. Those were the original two flagships.
All right. So Upside Down is the gold ale. I'll show people the package. So that's what it looks like. And we actually in the store, you can come in and like on the Athletic display we have a sort of a 4 beer variety pack, so you can try 4 different ones. And we'll talk to these guys about how many different. They have a bunch of different styles, right? I mean, you have All Out, which is a dark, the Hazy, which is what I'm going to crack right now, actually, because this is what the hazy looks like, the can. So how many different styles are there?
So it's an excellent question. So we got the three current flagships. So that's going to be the Hazy, so Free Wave, Run Wild, and Upside Down. And then we have multiple seasonals that are going through there. So we've got Cerveza in the summer, which is going to be that like kind of Mexican copper lager.
Right.
And then we have Stout, which is going to be more of the winter brew. And well, actually, I can't say Stout. It would be our all-out. Legal conventions around NA beer naming is a little tricky. So it's all-out extra dark.
So that's this.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's this. I
we
like the
have-
graphics on it. I saw today on the website that they have this as a poster. if you want some athletic merch, pick up the poster. That's a pretty tight poster. So it's basically a brand that, like, for people who enjoy being outside, doing stuff, and don't want to get too lit up, which is cool. And everything's canned, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So it's pack it in, pack it out. How hard is Kevin is a good one to answer this because he's the head of the brewing operation. So how hard is it to make a non-alcoholic beer?
It's
You
hard.
don't have to give us
good
any
one.
trade secrets, but
No, it's just like brewing normal beer. So like we have that proprietary process we talked about where we look at a whole range of different tweaks you have to do in the process from top to bottom. But it looks and it ends up tasting just like brew beer because we follow all of the same traditional steps. So it takes a lot of effort to do it right. We have to really be meticulous with everything. We have to be really clean because we are considered a food. So we kind of bridge the boundary of food and alcohol. So like we really have to make sure that we're doing everything to protect the product and the consumers. And then just really making sure that we're using the best ingredients. So that's why we have organic malts, some of the best hops. Like it really just all goes into the product.
When the guy started though, like, how did they develop the way to pull the alcohol out of it, right? Because they were basically home brewers, right? So they had to develop this system to do it. So early on, it must have been a lot of trial and error.
Tons of trial and error. I don't know the exact number, but they went through, I would say, probably hundreds of batches just to really like dial it in and tweak to get to the final result.
So basically, they invented however you guys pull the alcohol out.
Exactly.
They must be really smart.
That's why
I could never
$1
do
million
that. I'd be
secret.
like, screw it. I'm just gonna drink it. I'm just gonna drink it with booze in it. I don't care.
Yeah, it's that process that they spent all that time working on that really sets our product apart.
Right. And real quick, just to echo that, because you were saying how we pull the alcohol out, one thing that makes us really unique is there is no alcohol getting pulled out. It is that process where it is fully fermented beer, but the alcohol isn't getting removed. So that's kind of what sets us apart because you get that full character and that full taste of the beer because the alcohol isn't getting pulled out like traditional non-alcoholic beers are being made.
For a hazy. This is one of the best hazies, like with or without ABV, that you can buy. This beer's legit. Like, it's impressive. I've had a couple pretty good like hazy NA beers. There's another company, Untitled, who makes a really good hazy, and I don't know if you guys have ever had their NA beers, but this one's right up there with like the best hazy with alcohol in it you could drink. It's crazy how good it is. Is it easy to make this beer as far as like, because you can do a lot of hops and that helps cover any like sort of, like people, like, I guess my question is what is like the base and like what are the hops in it? And like, do you dry hop it like regular?
So I can't go too far into the recipe, but I can say the base is going to be all organic Vienna malt. So all of our flagships all have organic Vienna malt as the base. So we know that same top of the line ingredients there. But then from the hop standpoint, you got Mosaic, you got Citra, Chinook, and Amarillo. So just all really classic Pacific Northwest hops, all from the U.S. Just that really citrusy, piney, resinous, and then the Amarillo kind of gives it that like citrusy orange like character to it that I think like really sets this beer apart.
Yeah, I love this. I think this beer is great. I mean, going out and being like the DD or whatever, if you drinking these, you're, I mean, that's great. You feel like you're part of the crowd, because I feel like a little bit with NA beers too. And I think we talked about this last year with Mike. Is that like people like them, and if they're the designated driver person, at least it feels they're like part of the gang. You know what I mean? It's not like they don't have anything in their hand. If you're at a show, you like to have a beer in your hand. So, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons people really like them.
All right. And also, not only the DDs or the people that aren't drinking again, it's a great pacing beer. If you're out, like you said, at a show, you want to remember a lot of what's going on. So you don't want to just keep throwing back a bunch of beers. So this is a really good option to pace yourself throughout the night and even wind down as the nights end, but still have something really good to drink.
Let's talk a little bit about the social programs you guys do. You do that 2% back for trails.
We do.
Have they done that all along?
Yes, from the beginning. Just that as building the program, building the company, just recognizing the value and giving back to local communities, especially as we continue to grow, how important that is. So donating 2% to local trail restoration, trail cleanups, and other nonprofits, but also we went a step further to also donating an additional 1% for our impact fund. So we have a collaboration with Bear Culture, some other impact programs. We have a scholarship up in Connecticut for Sacred Heart University, where we have sent someone to essentially become a brewer through Sacred Heart University, and that's a 5-year.
Oh yeah, I know that program, because the woman from Rhythm Brewing is involved in that, and my friend Megan Zachary, who used to be at Two Rows, and now she's at the joint in Boston, not Trillium, the other big one in Boston. It's escaping me. Anyway, yeah, that's a pretty interesting program at Sacred Heart.
It is. So we have a scholarship there. So in 2021, donated upwards of $1.5 million between the Two for the Trails program and our impact fund. As we grow, that fund continues to grow as well. That's
amazing. Do you guys do? You must do events for like the trail event all over the country. Do you have them planned out for around here? Obviously, it's a little early in the year for that kind of stuff, but
for sure. Yeah, we try to. When we partner with and select the nonprofits for our Two for the Trails as well as the impact program, we try to identify ways not only we can just say, hey, here's money, but how can we continue to build on that relationship? What are some events you're doing? How can we come actually do some work with the organization when they're cleaning up a trail or building a trail or anything for that matter? And we have a few nonprofits here in the area between DC and Maryland that are pretty local that we're going to be working with as things open back up and the weather gets better.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough because with the whole COVID thing, it kind of put everybody sort of on the back burner for getting events like that really going. And then we had that little glimpse of hope there in part of the summer. I don't know how it is out where Kevin is. I mean, it's kind of a lot of masking and that kind of stuff is kind of back, and people are kind of standoffish about going out. But it would be cool, Mike. We should get involved with some sort of disc golf thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you play disc golf?
I have not, but I'd never say no to a new adventure.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool. Kevin, do you play disc golf?
A few times in my past, yeah.
It would be kind of cool to like figure out a way to like get a local disc golf thing going, and with you guys as the sponsors. That would be kind of cool. We should work on that. And then we can have Kevin come out and play. He's going to be our ringer.
I'm really good at losing the disc and the water traps. That was
my
main skill.
We should actually go out to Kevin. Never mind being here. It's hot. It's either hot or cold up here. We'll go to San Diego with Kevin and hang out with Kevin and play disc golf in San Diego. That makes even more sense to me. How's my boy Matt Pollard doing?
He's great. He's over in Seattle now.
Yeah, he's like north. He's like the Northwest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you guys do like national meetings and see each other? Well, probably not now because of COVID.
Not as much, but we have a big sales team meeting, so looking forward to seeing some folks.
Nice. That'll be fun. Yeah, we'll get working on that disc golf idea. Yeah, so we could try a couple other ones of these beers if you guys are up. Ready?
Would love to.
All right, so we just did the hazy. I don't have any glasses here, so they're just gonna have to trust us. Let's do the flagship. Let's do upside dawn. See, these are fun. These are fun tastings because you can drink all the beer and just by the end of it, you're not as loop. What is that on your bike back there, Mike? It looks like it's the cans.
It is the cans. I wanted to get some like decoration going, so I put the boxes back there.
Ah, that's what it is. I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, he's thinking. All right, so this is the upside down, and this is the gold ale. So this is one of the original beers.
Oh, gee.
Correct.
Tastes like beer, which is a good thing, right? That's what Kevin gets paid to do, to have it taste like beer.
That's how I know I did a good job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, these aren't gluten free though. These have gluten.
That's one of the tricky parts. This one is technically gluten reduced. So through a process of brewing and then everything else, we're able to test and verify that the gluten is less than 20 parts per million. Okay. So like we can't make the claim that it's gluten free just because it does contain grains that are made of gluten. But for folks who are maybe gluten sensitive looking for that option, yeah, we can verify that every batch that leaves the house is certified under 20 parts per million.
Okay. So, and is that the federal standard or whatever?
Yeah, it's going to be in the U.S. And so those laws really change kind of depending on what country you're in. But wherever, like as a company, we take always the strictest approach just because we don't want to put ourselves or anyone else at risk just based on the rules. So that's kind of our strict approach to food safety for everything.
I think Kevin needs a better office, a better decorated office. It looks like he just moved in. He's got boxes everywhere and stuff.
I'm in my coworker's office. I'm actually based out of Connecticut, so I will have an office at our new facility there. But I'm used to working on the tap room bar. Out of like, if there's a flat surface, I can generally work there.
How's it going to tap room in an NA? I think that's so interesting. Like, you know, like in a normal brewery, like I always see it. But do you guys do really well in the tap room?
The tap room overall is a pretty small avenue of sales, but it's a really good educational system. Like people kind of come in, they heard about it, they're able to try beer on tap, just really ask questions, and it's really more interactive, and it's also generally really wholesome. Like there's games and stuff, like you just go in and people having a quiet, calm time, So it's a really good spot to like kind of immerse yourself and try a whole bunch of new NA beers at once.
That's cool. I'd like to. I'm gonna have to visit the one in Connecticut. I'm pretty excited because I go up that way pretty often, so I'm gonna stop in there sooner or later.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of other styles that you can't get in stores or anywhere because we're putting out 8 to 10 different styles a month out of that facility. So
Really?
just the variety you can get there. Yeah.
Like what styles?
Whatever you could dream of is coming out of there. So we got sours, stouts, porters, really anything.
6 NAs on draft.
6 NAs. Thank you, Dermot. It's one of our teammates.
Really? That's. Well, I don't know why I'm surprised by it. Like I say, the Untitled Arts stuff. I mean, they do a really good they have a really good NA Berliner Weiss. They do a bunch of like a really good chocolate milk stout. So I mean, I don't know why I'm acting like I'm surprised by it, but that sounds awesome. Do you do an ESB?
We did this past year, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So I have a theory that ESBs are coming back.
I'm curious
because in the last probably month, I've been offered at least a half a dozen ESBs, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how they'll sell, and we actually talked about doing an ESB when one of the collabs we did. So maybe that's the next big thing. ESB, you guys can can and get on the ground floor of the next big thing.
No, it's definitely an underappreciated style, but I think it's probably the end of the year burnout. Everyone's making massive stouts, like crazy big pastry brews, and so then kind of dialing it back, having just a malty lower hop brew to more of a winter session ale kind of fits that spot.
That's cool that you guys did one on an NA version of it. That's cool. Would that ever see package? Or how do they determine what would come in package?
So the ESB actually went out through our e-com. So yeah, we packaged it off and then it all sold through online. So that's kind of how all of our smaller brews are all available online for that reason.
Wow. I'm gonna have to follow, and it can go anywhere. Like you can ship NA beers all over the country. There's no real rules about it.
There are several states that you don't want to ship to, but they're the minority of the states.
That's cool. All right. I'm interested in that. I'm definitely interested in the ESB. All right. So this is the IPA. Now, is this IPA base the base for this, and this is just a hopped up version of it, or totally different?
Completely different. Yeah, so the hazy is loaded with a bunch of wheat, and that's kind of what the protein from the wheat mixes with the hops, the polyphenols to give that haze, and also kind of gives that softer mouthfeel. So this one is should be crystal clear, going to have still loaded with a bunch of Pacific Northwest hops, but have a lot more malt character to it.
Yeah, this is more of an OG West Coast.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite beer that we make.
And it's only 70 calories. That's good. Wow. I had no idea. No, this is actually very good. This is...
Yeah. Also, the hazy is also 70 calories. And then the golden ale, or upside down, is only 50. So, super light.
So for all you health conscious people, you can drink all these healthy beers and then intersperse the regular beer in there. So this is the extra dark. So this is not a stout. You guys do a stout or no?
So that's where things get tricky. It is brewed in the style of a stout, but legally we can't say the name stout on there. So hence the extra dark.
Ah, why is that?
The TTB, they have a bunch of fun rules.
So it's like champagne.
Essentially, you can think of it like that.
You can only call it a stout, but this is extra dark in the other regions. So this looks great. Ooh, super coffee nose on it.
Oh yeah.
And as y'all talking about it, because I definitely want to make sure folks are able to see it, I'm going to run and get a glass and let you guys keep talking for a bit.
This has a killer coffee nose on it. So it's all dark. It's all dark malts.
Yeah. So same organic base, and then a bunch of crystal malt, roasted barley. Just really trying to get all the same ingredients you'd have in a full strength brew, just really meld together to give you that full experience.
I gotta say, this is awesome. Like, this is, you would not believe that this is an NA beer. This beer is killer.
Yeah, that's our biggest beer at around 90 calories too.
Look at that.
So folks can have some context.
Yeah, it's really good. Like I like this little 4-pack we put together because I think it runs the gamut for you guys. It sort of shows. I mean, it's got the 3 core in it, but it also has this beer in it, and it gives people a good balance of what you guys produce.
Right.
So and people come pick it up. We have a bunch of them made up at the store. They're like $6.99 for 4 beers. Come try them out and come back in and sort of pick your favorites. We always have it in the store. What's the next sort of seasonal after All Out? Whatever it's called.
We have our, what is it, the Wits Peak?
Correct. That's in a tank right now.
What is that style?
So it's going to be a wit beer. So it's going to have some of the orange peel, coriander, having some of that like nice little spice note to it. So
Okay.
it should be coming out in a couple weeks.
Oh, so that's basically the spring, and then the cerveza is sort of the summer beer. Is that how it works?
Going through that rotation.
Cool.
But also, we also have another LCO coming out. Should be hitting Legends Warehouse the end of January into February. And that'll be our first rye coffee porter.
Ooh.
So definitely make sure you guys get your hands on that as well.
That sounds great. If it's anything like this, it's killer. It'll be killer. I like the graphics on this one the best. I like the graphics on all of them.
Got to get you some posters.
I know, right? I'm telling you. I went online to look at merch today, and I was just like, wow, look at that cool poster. Kevin's going to have all those posters in his new office in Connecticut.
Yeah, I need some help decorating.
There you go. Well, guys, I appreciate you coming on all the way from the West Coast. That's awesome. How's the weather out there? Good?
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to go back to Connecticut in 2 days.
You're going back that? Yeah, you really don't want to because we're supposed to get weather.
Yeah, you forget what weather is in San Diego.
What do you go to? Have you hit a lot of like local breweries in San? I mean, San Diego's like the IPA capital of the world. Have you hit like a bunch of breweries, or are you too busy?
This trip I was a bit too busy, but definitely it's a great city to be in. Like tons of great beer. And then there's another, it's just a great beer culture all around.
Is there any like smaller? Like San Diego is a place that does a lot of NA beers that you know of, like a tap room that like makes their own basically.
So there is 2 routes out of San Diego as well. So like there's at least 2 NA breweries in San Diego. So
really?
it's pretty Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, a really big beer hub down this way.
That's interesting. I feel like when people learn how to remove the alcohol, I feel like it's probably going to be one of those things where you're going to see more and more pop up. Do you think that or no?
I would say that I think it's good overall. Like, we definitely want the market share to grow, like not just us, but just the entire segment. Like, just
Right.
having that be a lot more normal, not have it be such a, like, I love that it's a conversation starter, but having that become a normal part of everyday life is kind of where we see the whole trend going.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, we've gotten quite a few. The one, the guy that Blue Moon started. I can't remember the name of that one. What was that? Syria.
Keith Villa, Syria.
Yeah,
Syria.
the guy from Blue Moon started that one. The original brewer from Blue Moon. So it's cool. I think it's a good trend. I think as people are more health conscious, you'll get away from the like, let's talk about NA beers and what, like, people won't refer to them as much as NA beers. See what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I think it'll be normalized a little bit. So it's cool. I think it's a good idea. These beers are all terrific. I like every one of them. My favorite is probably this one, actually, the dark. I really enjoy that. And the dark and the hazy are my two favorites. So, and this is just an OG. Run Wild is just an OG sort of IPA. So, very good, guys. Appreciate you guys coming on. Enjoy. Have a safe trip back to Connecticut, Kevin. And
sure.
Mike, let's get working on that disc golf idea. That might be an up and coming idea. We'll have Kevin come down and throw some in the water for us.
Sounds good.
I'll keep an eye out for the invitation.
There you go. Perfect. All right, guys. I appreciate you coming on. Be safe. I'll talk to everybody soon.
All right. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Sounds good.
All right. Very cool. You're welcome, my friend. Terrific beers. Really, really good beers. Come into the store and pick up this 4-pack and get a good feel for these beers. But every one of them is very well done. I really enjoy them. So anyway, thanks everybody. Next week we have Sega on with us on Wednesday, the 19th, and I'll talk to everybody then. And this week in the store, we actually have our good friends from Oscar Blues coming in to do a live tasting in the store. They have two new beers. So that's Friday from 5 to 7. Two new great, really good IPAs. So come on by and check it out. See ya.